Hi, this is Dave with NTI Online, and today I'm going to go over a general topic. In this case, it's going to be rough or noisy ignition on a boiler or noisy combustion. Now, what you might expect to hear is potentially your boiler could light with a bit of a bang or a very abrupt start. You might get a boiler that runs normally most of the time, but then makes a howling or reverberating or chugging noise. So unusual noises that are related to the burner. The troubleshooting for these is a little bit generic, but it's important that we go over each step one by one just to make sure that we're covering all our bases and ensuring that we're fixing that boiler so that it runs smooth and quiet the way it was intended to. Now, I'm standing today in front of a TFT 110, and this is just an example. You're going to follow these steps, but for whatever boiler you're working on. So generally speaking, the first thing you're going to want to do if it's an abrupt or noisy ignition is to check your igniter. So this one, I've already prepped it. You're going to want to pull out your igniter. If it's a spark igniter like this, you want to check this gap. It's typically about 3/16 to about 1/4 of an inch. If you're going to make a mistake, it's a little bit better to be a little too large than too small. What we found is, especially on fire tube boilers, if this gap shrinks up and becomes a 1/16 of an inch or a little bit less, what will happen is your boiler will light, but it could light very abruptly. So that's probably one of the more common causes of an aggressive ignition or light off. So always inspect your igniter, make sure it's in good condition. If you're in any doubt, probably best to replace it. If your boiler has a spark cable, like the one you see here, give the cable a good look over. These cables have about 1,000 ohms of resistance, so what you'd want to do is just check from tip to tip and see if you get about 1,000 ohms. Just make sure the cable's in good condition, no deterioration of the boots or the connections. It's a good idea to pull out your igniter, and when you do this, you're going to want to leave it to hang with the ground strap attached. Have all that plugged in. At this point, you generally speaking would not want to hold on to this, or at least I don't recommend it. Run through an ignition sequence, look for a strong, consistent spark that's going to last roughly 5 to 6 seconds. We have other videos showing sparks, so I won't do it right now. But make sure you get a strong, consistent, steady spark. If it's intermittent or stops and starts or flutters, very good chance that your spark transformer is starting to fail, and that could be the cause of your rough ignition. So that's rough ignition to do with spark. The second most common cause, and this is actually the cause of most of our combustion-related complaints in tech support, is you've got noisy, reverberating ignition. Could be just ignition, or while the boiler's running, the burner will start to chug or puff or sound abnormal. Most common cause is actually just that it's running lean. There's not enough fuel in the combustion chamber. And the way to fix that is going to be to try and get the boiler to run in some condition where it's not making a noise. Start your combustion test procedure. Adjust your valve into the correct range. Not enough fuel generally means noisy burner operation. Once you've set your combustion at high and at low fire, if you're not sure how to do that, check one of the other videos, call tech support, or read the installation manual. We're starting to get down into the less common causes for poor ignition or rough, noisy burner operation. The next thing you're going to want to check is always make sure the air intake for your boiler is free and clear. And when you're troubleshooting, the rule of thumb is if you have not personally looked and seen that it's clear, you have to assume that it's bad. So with your intake and exhaust, you're going to physically look through them. With boilers that have a direct piped intake like this, make sure you look right inside the venturi, make sure there's nothing in there that doesn't belong, make sure it's relatively clean and in good condition. Take your air intake pipe, and if it's a boiler like the one I'm on, what I like to do is I'll reconnect this intake pipe in such a way that it's actually drawing air from the cabinet rather than from outdoors. And what this does is lets me know that basically I'm sure that I'm getting good airflow at this point. Now that I've done that, I can try it again. If my ignition or noise problems go away, then there's a good chance that my intake venting is restricted. Restricted exhaust venting is less common, but can also cause noisy burner operation. One of the ways you can test for that is to run the boiler at maximum power, take your manometer, stick it into the exhaust test port, and measure the back pressure. Very few of the residential size boilers, 399 and down, are going to have a back pressure that exceeds about 1.5 inches water column. We'll have a separate video showing you how to test intake and exhaust back pressures. So watch that video. But in general, if you're seeing more than about an inch, inch and a half of back pressure on the exhaust, there's a good chance that you have some restriction. That can also cause noisy or poor burner operation. So once you've verified that your intake, exhaust, ignition source, and combustion numbers are all good, if your burner is still operating in a noisy fashion or chugging, making abnormal noises, make sure the condensate drain is draining freely. Backed up condensate will cause all sorts of headaches because it plugs up the combustion chamber, preventing air from escaping. Your next step is going to be to remove the burner door for whatever boiler you're working on, and you need to inspect your burner. So you're going to be looking for a couple of things. One of them is going to be the gap between the igniter and the burner itself. If for some reason your igniter has warped and is too close to the burner, you might get arcing to the burner, which will potentially still ignite the boiler, but may not ignite as smoothly. If the burner cone itself is damaged, of course the burner must be replaced. The other thing that can happen to the burner cone is that they can get full of dirt or debris. I have a cutaway here of a TRX heat exchanger. So this is our combustion chamber, and our burner is right in the center here. You can see that this particular one is a perforated metal cone filled with perforations there. These will fill up with dust, dirt, and debris, mosquitoes, all that kind of thing gets stuck in here. From time to time, you may need to wash the burner itself. The extended air tube, which has been cut off, this one would normally come from here out towards the blower motor. Debris or junk that gets stuck in there potentially could cause you an issue. And you also want to make sure that the chamber is clean. So you're going to scrub and flush, following one of our cleaning videos, make sure all the gaps between these tubes are free. Look at the refractory in the chamber. If the refractory, either up top here, where your igniter is now laying in an odd position or impinging on the burner, or if the refractory at the bottom here, and normally in the boiler this would be sitting in a horizontal fashion, if this refractory has come loose for some reason and is laying in an odd configuration against the burner, something like that, that could cause poor ignitions and rough running. Same with the refractory up top here. It's rare that it comes loose, but if it has come loose and is laying on the burner, that will cause all kinds of burner issues for you, in addition to ignition failures and other problems. So make sure everything in the chamber is in good condition before you proceed. If you're not sure what that looks like, watch one of our cleaning videos for the product that you have, or call our tech support department. Hopefully you don't have too many issues with noisy burners, but if you do, I hope something in this video is useful for you. And as always, if you have any questions, give our tech support department a call at 800-688-2575. Thanks for watching the video today. If you'd like to check out more videos, see the link below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for all the future updates. And also check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.